What's going on, YouTube? Today I want to talk to you guys about the experience of owning a car, just what each car can bring to you as an experience standpoint. So some people buy cars because of what their personal experiences are. You're going to have fanboys of certain cars because of their experience, and that's what it's all about. Because cars are essentially an emotional choice, and fortunately for me, I've had a chance to revisit that a ton of times, just a bunch of experiences from a bunch of different cars that I have owned and that I have gotten as press cars. So I'm pretty blessed in that department. My current two cars, my 2024 Miata and my 2026 Prius plug-in. So two vastly different experiences. So before I had the Prius, I had the Blackwing and the Miata, which is two similar-ish types of experiences with the focus on fun. But with this Miata, fun is the huge highlight of it. It's nothing but fun because there's no practicality on it at all. It's no compromise car. As far as fun factor goes, the Miata is the highest, the best experience that I have had. That's why I own this car. See, I put my summer tires back on there, the gold wheels, chunky on there. But as I said, practicality is none to second, if you can say something like that. So, hold a couple pair of shoes in the backpack. That's about it. Prius, on the other hand, it offers a lot more in the daily category. So super efficient. I spent about $175 on gas since December. Saves a ton of money. Actually looks pretty good. It drives pretty nicely as well. I took it to the track in the last video. It's a whole lot to like about the Prius. It's not a Blackwing, but that's what I'm saying. The experiences of the Prius totally different. So with the Prius, I needed something a little bit more practical, something more efficient, and it's got that. Although the plug-in hybrid is less practical, but you can go road tripping on this thing. And no shouts out to Amazon. They canceled my order when I tried to order an Atlas. What's up with that? These are the times. But the efficiency on this car gets a ton of compliments, surprisingly, too, because it's just a Prius. But my Miata gets a ton of compliments, too. But that's not what this is about, the experience. So just driving these cars, every car is going to give you a different experience, unless it's a rebadge car. But even rebadge cars can give you different experiences, like the BRZ and the GR86. Same car essentially, but slightly different experiences. But let me jump in, let me get in the Miata first and do a quick driving experience of that. Miata is going to be all about the driver's input, driver feel. It's not going to impress you on the stat sheets. I need people to understand that. But if you're tuning into my video at this point, you know how I feel about the Miata. But sometimes the car stats aren't going to stand out. The higher the stats doesn't make the car better. It's about the feeling. And we've gone so far away from that nowadays. And me driving the Miata, that's the feeling that I want to feel most of the time when I drive a car. When I want to go on a spirited feel or a spirited drive, the Miata is what I want to feel. I wish they had a bigger four-door Miata. People are going to say that's sacrilegious, but I need a practical version of this too. But unfortunately, there isn't a big, lightweight car. And especially when it comes to like manual sedans, you can get the Integra Type S. That's front-wheel drive, though. You can get a WRX. And to be honest, the WRX is probably the worst experience I've had on this channel, is owning a car. Not the worst experience, but it's the least impressive car that I have on here. I own a lot of impressive cars in my book, but that one is the least. And look at me, doing the speed limit behind these SUVs, but I'm having a great time back here. That's something only the Miata can bring to me. And I get to test out the limits all the time. That is great fun. I'm in the parking lot just going crazy right now. But you cannot get this type of experience in many cars out there. And as I was naming other cars, like maybe the M3, the Blackwing that I had, you can't have this type of fun on the street. You got to go to a track. And if you go overkill with something like a Z01 that I previously had, even on the tracks that I go to, it's too much car. But the Miata is just enough car. And honestly, I wouldn't even care if they made the Miata less powerful, just as long as they keep it as enjoyable. But it's great that it is this fast because you don't have to worry about merging. Like I can merge in without pretty much caring. But conversely with the Prius, if I have it in EV mode, I definitely got to watch how I merge in, because if it's on EV only, that thing is slow, but we'll get to that later. But the Miata, steering feel, shifter feel, get to rev it out, and it's not slow at all. And I'm still within speed limit. So that's what I like about the experience of the Miata. And then it just looks good as well. People think this is something exotic. They see that M on the hood, something this small, the drop top. Some people that don't know cars will think it's a Maserati or something, but it's just a regular old Miata. Somebody at Best Buy was touching my car the other day, hands off. But it just looks great, and it's a great car. But the experience, second to none. I haven't seen this experience replicated in any car, especially any new car. This is in the class on its own. BRZ, GR86 are close. Those are more track focused out the box, but to have a car this lightweight, this is probably the lightest weight car that's out there. And Lotus, they don't have the Elise and Exige anymore on the market, so Miata is it. So that's my experience with this car. Let's go on over to the Prius. Actually, while I'm driving back to the Prius, we'll talk about a couple other cars that make a good balance between the two, my Miata and the Prius. Like I said, I wanted a sporty four-door car. Now, I've owned a few of those. The GR Corolla would be the most fun version of all the cars that I have owned, but it's not practical enough, and that's why I traded that in for the Miata. The only reason, if that Corolla had like an extra room, an inch in the back seats, I would probably still have that car to this day. But the other two cars that I have owned that could be a one-car solution that kind of slices up, the efficiency is not going to be there. Like that Prius, I got like over 5,000 miles on the Prius and spent $175 on gas. That's crazy. I'll spend that, today's prices, spent that on 2 fill-ups with the Blackwing and 2 or 3 with the Integra Type S. But those two cars, the driving inputs are there. The efficiency isn't. Even on the highway cruise, maybe you'll get like 30-ish miles per gallon with the Integra Type S. I got 27 in the Blackwing. Those cars are a great compromise for one-car solutions. And even the M3 would probably get a higher efficiency than probably both of those. Well, maybe not the Integra Type S. But those are the types of cars, but nowhere near being lightweight. That M3 is probably 3,900 pounds. Blackwing, 3,900 pounds. Or maybe the M3 is 3,800. Who cares? And the Integra Type S was like 3,400 pounds. As is the GR Corolla. But none of them come close to being 2,300 pounds. That's the experience that's not going to be replicated. Now we'll go on to the Prius. I had to get that off my chest in case you can. If one car is in your solution, consider those. But you got two cars like this, I went polar opposite. So let's go to the Prius, which is on the other end of the spectrum. The Prius. Let me let a little bit of light up in here. So the Prius is the car where I gotta watch out for pedestrians walking in the middle of the street. The light was right there. But this car is my serene daily driver. It's actually quite comfortable for what it is. Like going from the Blackwing to this, I really didn't miss a beat. I just wanted a car that would be a good daily driver. It's efficient, it looks great, and it actually drives pretty good as well. So the other cars I was thinking about was the Kia or the Hyundai Ioniq 5 and the Kia EV6 GT. You can get those used for around 40 grand for like, not even a 1 year, like same model year with like 5,000 miles on them. The depreciation is great to that car. And the other car I wanted was a Genesis G90, which I should have had one today, but that didn't happen. That would have been a 3-car comparison. But this car is a fine balance of that. It's like the bargain version of it's a nice regular car. So what I'm missing is my ventilated seats for my Blackwing massaging seats. But this is a Toyota. You're not getting that on a Toyota product. You can get the ventilated seats though. But everything else, you can do like hands-free driving. And it does a pretty good job at that. The ability to charge the car and get about 60 miles per charge. I can floor the car. Not very overwhelming at all. It's actually underwhelming, but at some speeds it will chirp the tires and you can do little burnouts, which is pretty cool. Get you some more tires though. You saw what I did on the track. It's even worse driving on public roads when it's snow outside, because these tires just cannot get grip with that instant torque from the electric motor. So the Prius is just a great car to be like doing 30 miles, 35 miles per hour. They tore up every road. I can't even do my regular driving reviews on the routes that I have done. They tore up everything around here. Now it's just like regular roads for me. But the same place I just took the Miata, let us take the Prius. Tires squealing already. These tires can't give up nothing, man. These tires got a chassis belt on. They just don't be giving up, or they just give it up too much. The opposite of a chassis belt. But yeah, my chirping the tires at 25 miles an hour. That's crazy. The limits of this car. So what I was saying about the Miata, if the Prius is your thing, my goodness, the limits are ultra low. But let me turn on the hybrid motor as well, because like I said, it's underwhelming with just the electric motors. When you turn the engine on in tandem with the electric motors, it takes off. It actually pushes you back some, whereas that actually becomes impressive. So it's no slouch, and it does handle well. Get you some tires. Even if you just get some tires. Get some tires. Just get you some tires. You're welcome. But it's going to handle well as well. The acceleration goes from like 0 to 60 in 11 seconds with the electric motors to like 6.5 seconds with the engine. And it doesn't sound horrible. The transmission, I don't even know what transmission is in these cars, because I did a review on some car. I said it's an ECVT, and I guess it's just for the electric motor transmission. I don't know what this is anymore. And at this point, somebody in the comments said, because I don't know. I'm not trying to find out. I just know it just drives smooth all the time. So yeah, marketing, I don't know if this is a traditional CVT, ECVT, which is a regular transmission, or I don't know what it is. Forgive me. I just know I drive it every day, and it's very smooth, comfortable, and I like the experience of it. And not having to stop at a gas station, that's the icing on the cake. And having power when I need it. But my goodness, when I do need that power, I got to switch to this button, because I start off in EV mode by default. And I'm not sure if that's the actual default mode, because I just don't want it in automatic mode. The thing that I wish I could turn off, the front traffic, cross alert, whatever thing. Got a promenade out here. So I put it in EV mode. It didn't switch back over yet. I don't know when it's going to switch over. Still understanding the car. Sometimes it does it instantly. Other times it takes a little minute to do. But still, chirping the tires, getting out here in that little bit of a scurry hurry. But the Prius is going to be great on the highway as well. My experience in the highway, like the MPGs are going to go down, but it handles quite well. Let me take a phone call. So that's about to be the sum up of the Prius. A great daily driver. It's on the other end of the spectrum. If you're an enthusiast, it may or may not be for you, depending on how much you're willing to tolerate, because every enthusiast is different, and everybody wants a different experience in the car. So just go test drive one. I can't sell you on a Prius if that's not what you're looking for. But if you are looking for a regular car with great fuel economy and fun to drive, this car, hands down, has got to be my top recommendation for one. It doesn't have a manual, which mostly all of my cars have had, but for a daily driver, I know a lot of people don't want manuals that drive in traffic. Not to say that I don't understand that, because I don't drive in traffic that heavily. I have a couple times, and it can be a workout, but clutches are so light these days. I don't know, that's not for me. But if you're just looking for a regular car, great efficiency, a great experience as well, like overall ownership. I haven't thought about selling this car yet, and it's been how many months? 6 months so far, so that's like a record. Normally I'll just be checking my values on Carvana, but I haven't checked the value for this car or the Miata yet, so that's something to say about that. But that's all I got to say about that. So you guys chime in, let me know your experiences. If you got my two cars, some of you guys do, let me know. But let me know your experience about your car, why you chose the car that you got, and what you love about it. So I'm Q, checking out. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, browse the channel, and I'll check you out in the next video. Peace out.